Okay guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to draw a more realistic face. So, I have a generic Google image face and I will be drawing it. So, most people have a pretty similar shaped faces in like the proportions. And so we're going to start with what we call a face map. Now there are several different ways to draw a face map, but this is the way that I normally do it. So if you start with like an kind of egg shaped where it's like rounder at the top and then comes down and then into a rounded point for the chin, then if you take that and you split it in half. It's okay if it's not quite exact because I always change the shape of the upside down egg as I go. So if you split it in half vertically and then you come and you split it about in half horizontally as well. Okay, so this horizontal line is going to be our guide for where the eyes are going to go. So if you see the distance between here and you split that roughly in half, that's going to be where our nose will be. And then you don't want to do it exactly in half here because it'll be too low, so if you do it like a third of the way down for the mouth. And you should find that most faces stick to this. Some don't, and so you just adjust as needed. Okay, now if you come over here, and if you take the distance from here to the edge of the face, which isn't entirely defined yet, but if you split it roughly in half, carry it all the way down to the mouth line, and then do the same over here. And right now it just seems like we're drawing a bunch of lines, and we are, but they will help us later. Okay, so now most faces you can draw 5 like eye widths across. So like if you start in the middle and you say, okay, my eye is going to be like about that wide, you should then be able to draw another eye that hits the middle of here. It's not quite the middle over here, but we can change. You can shift this line over a little bit. And then there should be room for another eye here and another eye here. And that's about how wide the face needs to be. So now you can take your eraser and erase these extra lines. And I will erase that one since I messed up. Okay. We can redraw our guidelines super fast over where we erased. Okay, so we have the position for our eyes, and now if we're going to go ahead and draw them. So my person and most eyes, they kind of go up and then curve and then come back down. So it's like a little hill basically. And then there's a small like curve here before it comes back out, and then has another gentle curve. And then here we're going to draw the edge of the eyeball because it doesn't go fully into this little crevice. And you can't see the edge of the eyeball over here, but sometimes you will need to draw another thing. Another little edge there. Okay, and now we're going to draw the iris. Now the iris, it depends on where they're looking. My reference is looking directly at the camera, at the viewer. So the bottom, the pupil is in like an exact circle, but we are not going to draw all of it because her eyelid comes down. So you should be able to draw it and draw the bottom of the circle barely touching the bottom and then coming back up, and if we continued this it would make a full circle. Okay, and she has small pupils, so we're going to draw it in the middle of the iris, and she has a highlight, so we're going to draw that in as well. So the highlight is just like a little rectangle on top of the circle. Okay, now we're going to draw her eyelid very quickly. It follows the shape of this pretty well. For her, it comes out a little bit more this way, so I'll draw it out a little more that way. We'll kind of draw a little bit under here too, so that we have a reference of where to shade later. Okay, we're gonna do, oh, we can color in the pupils so that we know that it's pupil. We're gonna come over here, we're gonna try and mirror this one. We're gonna try and make it pretty much the same. Most people's eyes are pretty good mirrors of each other. So come over and down. So kind of like that. This eye is slightly more squished than this one, and that's how it is in the reference too. Okay, we're going to draw the edge of the eyeball. We can actually see her edge of the eyeball a little bit over here too. And her iris. Again, that circle. The irises should be about the same size. The way that I'm knowing how big to make things is by looking and comparing and seeing, okay, well, what shape does this like little white bit over here make, and trying to copy that. And pupil, color it in, and another highlight. Highlights normally are about the same in each eye, unless there's really dramatic lighting. Okay, you can always come back and adjust things as needed. I'm going to draw her eyelid. Comes up and over, following the shape of the eye pretty well. And then it gets closer as it comes down here. Okay. We're going to draw another line from this corner of the eye straight down to the nose line. And I'm realizing this line is not quite centered anymore, but I think it's okay. So we're actually going to adjust this middle line so that it's not confusing later. Oh, look, we're going to draw it actually in the middle. There we go. Okay, so the nose, the edges of the nostrils reach about to this line so that it's lined up with the edge of the eye. So we're going to draw the edge of her nostrils within these lines and on this nose baseline. Okay, like that. And then the center of the nose should match up with this center line, and it can come down below the nose line a little bit. So really smooth curves for this lady. Some people have very pointy noses, so you would change it. It really just depends on what your reference photo looks like. Now we're going to start with the lips. And her lips actually part a little bit below this mouth line, I think. So we're gonna come over and out to this line. This line is our stopping line for the mouth. I always start with the center of the mouth, like where it opens, and then draw the lips later. So that's just my preference. Most people have a little dip in their lips right here before it comes out, and her lips don't actually go all the way over here. They stop before reaching that line. Okay, they're parted slightly, so we'll add another sort of line kind of shading in here to show that they're parted. Come down here for the bottom lip. Okay, there we have a quick sketching. It's not really looking like her at the moment, but it will here in a bit, hopefully. You can see her chin comes right below her lip, and it's just a little dip. Okay, we're going to come back to her eyes and draw her eyelashes. Now she's very long eyelashes, so they're going to stick out here and then just kind of follow it out and become slowly curved as we go to this side. Okay, so you can draw them different lengths. Generally looks natural. Can kind of go a little crazy with it, but not too much. And their eyelashes often aren't super close together. They're normally pretty decently spread out, so it's not just like a cloud of eyelashes. And they get shorter as you get closer to here. I'm gonna draw some little hairs down here, kind of spread out. Okay, and we're going to do the same over here. The side of her face is slightly more in shadow, so it's a little harder to see, but if you basically copy what's over here, then it should work pretty well. Okay, now we're going to draw her eyebrows. I don't really have a guide for eyebrows. I'm sure there are ways to know where exactly to put them. I'm just not entirely sure, so I'm just gonna try and copy the photo. And then it like disappears into her hair there. I'm going to try and copy it over here as well. Going up gently and then over. And I'm going to stop it there because she has hair hanging in her face a little bit, so it'll cover that up. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to kind of reshape this egg shape now that we have some basic features lined up, because her chin isn't actually like this pointy. It's more of flat, but the egg gave us a kind of basic guideline and way to start. So she has a rounder, smoother face, and this curve like comes in almost a straight line, but like a slightly curved line until about this mouth, and then it goes up and it becomes covered by hair. She has quite a bit of hair. Over here, same thing. It's pretty straight until about the mouth line, and then it curves up. Okay, and I'm gonna come in okay if the lines don't meet up exactly, especially because she has hair, so, and like hair that's in her face, so we're gonna just kind of go for it and see how it ends up looking. We do it like that, and then this bit will be covered by hair. Actually, I'm going to erase it. There we go. And over here it's completely covered by hair, so we'll go ahead and draw that hair, and it gets close to her eye. Comes up, and then swoops out like that. So then this just kind of disappears up here in the edge of her face. Okay, so now her hairline begins about here. So not quite the top, because this top accounts for like the rest of her head as well. And it's not 100% exact, but come out and over and in, because this hair then comes up sort of like that. There's more hair here, and it's actually all in shadow, so when we shade it, it won't entirely matter. More hair coming down. I'm gonna draw it over here as well. So her hair splits here, and then it comes down in a smooth circle, and then it runs into her eyebrow. Okay, and the top of her head is more up here. Again, the egg was just to kind of give us a general idea of where we were going. It didn't exactly follow where we ended up needing to go. You can just kind of draw a rough outline of where her hair will go, and then we can put in more details and make it more exact later. It's kind of like that. Her neck starts about here, so not quite the middle of the eye, but like closer to the edge of the eye. If you draw like a straight line down again, comes down. And then her hair goes behind her neck, like this. Okay, and then this side of the hair is hanging over her shoulder. So we'll draw it over her shoulder. So when you're happy with how your outline looks, basically, you can come back in and you can erase these guidelines. Be careful not to erase your actual artwork. So now we're going to start shading a little bit to make it look a little more realistic. I'm going to start with the eyes. And I'm going to go around the iris darker, but avoiding the highlight. Because, yeah, the highlight's showing where there's light on her face. And coloring that pupil darker. And kind of shade to show that there is color there, Or you could just color it in. That could be cool. Okay, and up here, it's covered by the eye, the eyelid, and so we're going to shade that. And this bit is also shaded. And here it's shaded. Shaded in a little bit darker here, because that's when her nose begins, and so there's a shadow created by the nose. And here a little bit. We're going to come over here, we're going to do the same thing around the iris. Darker. Now, the left side of her face is more in shadow, so we're gonna make it darker and add more shade than we are with the right side of the face. All in here is pretty dark. Up here I have another shadow for the nose, and we can like draw it out a little bit. The nose comes down to about there. And so all of this edge is going to be shaded slightly. Come up here, go down into the eye. That's the shadow cast by the hair. That's a little shadow underneath her eye. Gotta fix the pupil and got a little messy. Okay, and we're going to come down the side of her face. And shade it. Come in and add the nostrils. There's a little shading to show the kind of bottom of her nose right there. Go on here. In here. But then we avoid mostly the space on either side of this little indent to show that it's standing out more. Okay, this entire half of her face. Very, very lightly in the shadow. Okay. We're going to make her lips slightly darker because they have more color than her skin, so we're going to show that color, except for right here because there's a highlight, big highlight right there. Show that her lips are parted slightly. Add some more details to the lips. Show like they're a little bit wrinkled. Under her chin, around shading as the other side, because the light is coming from this direction and shining on her face. That little bit is in shadow though. It kind of comes in very lightly to the mouth and then under her eye. I'm going to do the side of her nose a little bit, make the nose look a little more 3D. I'm going to come up here and over. Okay, we're going to come up to her forehead. Actually, we're going to do her eyebrows first because they're right here. You can just kind of color them in. There's not much shading to do there. Okay, now we're going to do forehead. And her hair is casting a shadow all the way to right here, so we can just color this in. And it'll end up kind of blending in with her hair, like it does in the photo. Okay, and this half, again, is lightly shaded. And it is all the way over until here. It gets very, very light, and then comes back to being shaded right here when we get to the hair on the other side. Okay, there's a little sort of indent kind of in her head there. We're going to show that. Can add a little bit more shade. You can kind of just use like the side of your pencil for, or especially some of the lighter shading. If you press down harder, it'll get darker. Okay, now we're going to do some of the hair, and I'm going to start just kind of by doing it all kind of quickly and sketchily like this. And if you pay attention to where the hair is going, so like this hair kind of, it comes down and then swoops out, and over here it comes out and over, and then out and down. Whereas then this comes down. Like if you pay attention to the direction of the hair and then kind of use your pencil to color it in the direction that it's going, it'll look better. You can put as much detail into it as you want. Kind of show it coming out of her head here at the split in her hair. And out over here as well. Okay, now we can add some shading, and I'll do the rest of the hair similarly in a minute, but we can add some shading first. For instance, this bit kind of like swoops over, so it's very dark right here, so we're going to make that darker as it comes down. And then there's also a bit here that's dark up here. Can kind of just color that in to make it all darker. Okay, now if we come down here, this bit by her face is really dark. We're gonna color that all very darkly. Being careful not to go onto her face or neck. Okay, color that in. Shade it where because this part of the hair comes like out and over and then like on top of this hair is behind, it will have the, wow, I can't talk. The hair that's behind will have more shadows and more shade than the hair that is on top. Okay, now her hair doesn't exactly just have this really nice curve because it's hair and it's messy, so we can now add some strands going out and beyond our confinements. And show how it's messy, have some coming down. And this, yes, something like comes out a little here. And if you want, you can take your pencil very lightly and do lots of little light hairs to make it even messier. Okay. Now we're just going to do the same thing with this other side, but we are going to pay attention because highlight right in here from where the light is shining on her, so we will be careful to not color it in too darkly. Okay, now we're going to go back in and shade it, and this bit is darker because it's hidden from the light a little bit more.
Hey, Abby, can I have the stool?
No. I'm filming. Please leave.
Sorry.
Close the door. And there's a dark shadow here by her face. It comes down and keeps being dark all in here. Okay, and draw some more individual strands of hair. And shade over here. And remember, there's a highlight here, so we're avoiding this spot in here, but we can shade around it. Okay, and for the hair down here, it gets lighter as it comes more in the light down here, so we're not going to have to do too much with it. There's a very dark patch right in here. But then it just kind of gets lighter and flows down over her shoulder. We're not going to draw all of her hair all the way down because it's a lot of hair and I'm kind of running out of paper here. So we're just going to kind of stop it here and it'll like fade out. Okay, we're still going to make this darker because it is very, very dark in my reference photo. Okay, and now we can come in, we can do our messier strands of hair. Okay, and we didn't shade the neck, so we're going to do that briefly. Here and a little bit under her chin and over here where her hair is covering it up. So there you go. There's a basic way of how to draw a portrait. And don't forget to sign your name so that people know that you drew it. And you can write the date for the year, whatever you please. Thanks, guys!